Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
No, sorry, dude. Sorry, my friend.
If that is what you want to do, you may have come to the right place. In this video we will explore the necessities of doing well in PvP in the Dark Zone. We will be looking at what gear you need. We will be looking at how to move effectively. We will look at how to aim and shoot. And finally we'll have a look at how to use grenades. So with no further ado, let's get into the gear. For DPS, you want to be looking at anything north of 220k, maybe 230. Here I've got 265. I've got a reasonably good setup. I'm very happy with it. But 220, 230 is at least what you're looking for. For toughness, you want to be looking at, so this is the way I classify it. Less than 300k, you're squishy. Okay, less than 300k, you are squishy. I don't often go there, but for glass cannon builds or support builds, maybe it's viable. I tend to want to go higher. For toughness, 350k, 340k is acceptable. That's solid. Once you hit north of the 370k mark, you're tough, you're tanky, and once you're past 400k, it starts getting a little bit ridiculous. I'm not sure it's worth it. I would recommend you look for something between the 330 and 360k mark to start with. Skill power, 40k is low, 60 to 70 is acceptable, 80k plus is preferable, but for the type of PvP we're looking at here, not a support build but a prime DPSer, I wouldn't recommend going much higher than the 80-90k mark. Okay, so that's that. Let's look at the various gear sets you can have. There are essentially 3 setups you can go for. The most popular and the easiest to make effective is the Alpha Bridge setup. So 4 pieces of Alpha Bridge, which will give you this, I want to say, which, you know, it's been covered to death in don't worry too much about that. What's more interesting about the Alpha Bridge set is what you do with it with the other 2 slots. So here I've got Nomads, 2-piece Nomads for the 15% health of kill. Very good if you expect to do as much PvE as PvP, as may be the case in the Dark Zone. The other options, there are 3 pieces that are really good to worry about. This one, the Mask with Tenacious, 10% damage for 10 seconds when using Medikit. I've got that. The other option you can put on, which I tend to use, this one, the Specialized Backpack, which will give me, you can see the 85k. That boosts my healing and the effectiveness of my pulse quite significantly. And then the third piece, not a surprise for anyone, is Savage Gloves. What I normally do is Savage Gloves and the Specialized. Put that one on, and that one on. Then I move all the mods around and okay, so we're looking at 245k DPS, 375k toughness, and 85k skill power. The other setup that is used and has some of the same qualities, the Predator's Mark. I have the 4-set bonus here, 10 shots gives you a bleed. Look at one of the other videos. I've done an in-depth analysis on the effectiveness and the damage output of that bleed. If I was using 4-set Predators, I would be using it for the slow and debilitating effect it has more than the damage, because the engagements simply aren't long enough that your damage really kicks in. So that's the other option, is 4-piece Predators. Of course, with the 4-piece Predators you have the same 2 slots open and you just do exactly the same calculations as you do with Alpha Bridge, whether you Tenacious, the Specialized, or the Savage Gloves. Okay. The third option then is 3-piece Predators, which will give you the 10% reload speed and the 8% damage here, and 3-piece Banshees. Why would you go 3-piece Banshees? Well, here's a 10% extra damage bonus. So those are your 3 options. Let's have a look at the weapons. Now, when you're running Alpha Bridge, you're clearly running 2 of the same type. I've got an AUG here and an MP5. MP5 is a really good weapon. Some say that the AUG is now up there as well, so maybe I'll try that out. I like the MP5. Vicious, swift, fierce, deadly, responsive, and brutal. If you are indeed running a setup where you don't have Alpha Bridge, say a Predator's Mark setup, you have the option of having two different weapons. So you could, in addition to the MP5, have something like this. I know a lot of people are running around with the LVOA-C, whatever that is. Personally, I think the M4 is a better choice. It seems a bit more stable, but this one is also very good. I think it complements the MP5 very well, because the MP5 I use for the close range work, and this, the military G36, is really good at the medium, even the long range. At medium range you can put most NPCs down in one clip, sometimes two NPCs. Very accurate, very stable, and packs quite a punch. Now this isn't great for PvP because I've got destructive on it. 1.5 patch might change whether destructive is at the moment. Not capable is okay, unforgiving decent. But I run Alpha Bridge, so I don't use an assault rifle for PvP. If I did, I'd be looking at this primarily. I wouldn't want another close range weapon. I'd just get confused and not know what to choose. The way I run it now, with the MP5 as primary, it's always clear which weapon I'm using. It's the MP5. Anyway, that's enough about the gear. 5 minutes of me talking about gear. You've probably already skipped past this point. Let's look at some examples of how to move around. So you'll note in this engagement how I start from cover. They find themselves in a place where they don't have a lot of cover, but they could have used it. I just keep throwing grenades at them, hit them in the back. They don't really use any cover. It's all about getting something in between you and whatever is shooting at you, and these guys are clearly just failing at that big time. Whereas when I get shot at, I use the cover available to me. This guy is using cover, but he's not using it effectively. He's actually crouching down behind it, which I very rarely do. I move around and use it just to block line of sight. Note how this guy used cover, but it made him static. He fires his ults, and you notice how I put something in between me and him when I'm reloading. And he's just in the middle of the open while I'm shooting at him. I always have cover nearby, again taking cover while reloading, and it's game over. But now here I do make an exception. Run down the road, I know there's someone behind cover here. Again, he's using cover to make himself passive, and okay, he ults up. Well, doesn't really matter. Still in the middle of the open, he's got no cover, I'm just laying into him. Unfortunately, I have no cover as a consequence, but I have the upper hand in the engagement, so it's okay. Tries to take cover, but not enough. He did reasonably well, but his first mistake was taking cover and making himself passive. This guy, again, in the open, and just nailing him. Another guy running around in the middle of the open. Didn't even bother to take cover there because, you know, he messed up the initial engagement so bad I didn't actually need to. Next up then, let's talk a little bit about aiming and shooting. So I'll show you a couple of examples of how I shoot. Here's a fairly lengthy engagement. I've loaded explosive ammo, and at this range I can only hit his body. Now at this point, when I'm close enough, I start aiming for the head. I take cover, as we spoke about earlier. Again, it's going to be a mid-range engagement. Just need to make sure we hit him. I aim for the chest because it's a big target. Use grenade as a defensive measure. Again, just shooting for the chest here, and now we're shooting for the head. Here we go. Shoot the head. He's turning his back, makes it hard. This is part of how you move. You saw how he moved while he was running away from side to side. Doesn't help him, but it makes sure that I have a hard time hitting the head. Now here comes a medium range engagement again, but I have time to aim. See the guy, start with the grenade, and I aim for the head. Still high chest, head. Comes out, and there we go. Aim for the head, lots of time, and he's down. Another guy just chest because he doesn't have a lot of health. I don't need to take the chance. At last then we come to the use of grenades, one of my favorite toys. In this first engagement I'm going to drop a grenade in front of the guy that's running at me, boom, and he loses 25% of his health and he's down. In this second engagement I'm going to miss the first grenade completely, only achieving to alert them to my presence, but this second grenade is a beauty. He's at 25% and he's down, and so on. Now in this engagement I have a mate, he's being chased by 3 guys. I've just put the 4th guy down in this 2v4, can't really catch them, but look at this defensive grenade, boom, they all get hit, and 1 is down, and number 2 is almost down.
You got your thing, Ice. I'm down. Quick. I got one of them.
And that just turned the whole engagement around. Just 1 grenade, 2 guys ran into it, and we're up top. He goes at me, boom, he's down, reload, and the next guy is about to go down as well. He tries a defensive grenade but misses it.
Boys, you
he's
need
dead.
to stop getting scores like this.
What's your toughness at, Ice?
And a little bit of gloating. Excellent. Last one. It's a 1 versus 2 or 3. I lost count. But you'll see how we pop the grenade in there and we follow it up. That means that I can't get attacked from the left while my grenade is out. Take this guy out. Had to pop my ult. That guy was soft. But that is how you open an engagement with a grenade, how you use defensive grenades, and generally just spam them at whatever you see. Now this is a bit of an odd one. We've got 4 manhunt rogues just sitting behind cover, and what do you do with them? Well, you spam grenades at them. And this was actually good fun. Wow, that hurt.
Wear off.
Put out flame turrets and all sorts, but all we need to do is keep spamming grenades until we get a lucky one in and we can open the engagement. Now mind you, there's 3 of us and 4 of them, so clearly there's something wrong just from the start here. Throw another grenade at them, their counters won't be going down. Poof. Let's see, he takes some shots.
I'm running out of
They're
grenades.
pretty soft. And we're running out of grenades here, but just 1 lucky grenade. There we go, they're on fire, and maybe it's time to go in and have a little bit of fun. Tank up, and we open the engagement. And to cut a long story short, they lose all their shit, we take it, and that is how you have some fun with explosives wrapped tightly in metal of some description. So to recap, what have we learned today?
They came in again.
We have learned about what gear you can use, some of the permutations of that gear, something around which stats to aim for. We have spoken about how to move around, how to use cover, how not to be in the middle of the open like a target. We've talked about how to shoot upper chest, always upper chest, unless you're confident that you can hit the head, in which case you shoot at the head. And then of course the fun part with grenades, how you use them offensively, how you use them to open engagement, and how you use them to root out some duck down trench rats. I hope you have found this video useful. Leave it a comment, leave it a like. If it has interest in the community, I will do some videos on more advanced methods. These have just been the basics. So until next time, stay frosty.